Hello. Yes, I'll begin a presentation in 30 minutes. Thank you, David. I'm just playing around with the controls right now. Malcolm, I didn't change the time. We're still going to start this thing at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm just playing around with the audio controls. Sounds good, Malcolm. I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll get the show on the road. Thank you. Hey, Danny, thanks for joining us, buddy. We'll be live here in just a couple minutes. Hey, guys, just waiting on a few more last minute viewers here. My phone's blowing up. All right, good deal. Uh, can you guys hear me okay? Somebody just type in the question box that the sound's coming through okay. Hello, Landon. Good to see you, buddy. All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get started here. Assuming you guys can hear me okay. Someone says yes. So basically, this is a new format for us. We're kind of excited about broadcasting finally. For those of you that know, we've been doing a face-to-face meeting in Indianapolis once a month for our Amazon Sellers Alliance. And I can say without a doubt, we've helped several people get their Amazon business up and running and through the launch phase, which seems to be the hardest. Okay, there's a yes. Yes, thank you guys. So this is something new for us, and we think we're going to be able to reach a lot broader audience worldwide. We have some folks joining us from Sydney, Australia, New Zealand, and also a couple of guys from Asia. So here we are. So first, a little bit of housekeeping. I was trying to set this up to where I could open up your mic, but unfortunately, from what I've seen, Google Hangouts only let us do that if there's less than 10 people on the call. So we have many more than 10. So we're going to have to use the Q&A. If you're on a mobile device, it probably won't work. You can actually see the questions on your mobile device if you're using Google Plus or Google Hangouts app. Otherwise, if you're using a PC or another home computer, you ought to be able to type in a question. And if you guys will just put in the questions, if it's a question I haven't covered already and it seems relevant to the conversation, then I'll go ahead and answer it live for you. So I'm not going to be able to turn on your mic, obviously. And for those of you that don't know, my email address, if you'd like to add me to your Google Circles, is Sean Hart. You see my name there at the bottom of the screen, Sean Hart 317@gmail.com. Feel free to send me an invite to join your Google Plus circles. That's kind of new to me, but I told my friend Eddie today, who's watching, that I'm an old dog in a new game here. Never thought I would say that, but the time is here, so it's time for me to learn new technology. So obviously, we're all excited about the Amazon opportunity and enjoying sharing this opportunity with folks from all walks of life. And we believe that Amazon's opened the door for the average person to be able to own and operate a business online selling real products to real people. And hello, my wife just walked in. So Seth and I are sharing this opportunity with the people that we like and care about and trying to make a few more Amazon millionaires out there. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, the overall opportunity, the way I like to tell it, is I use a Walmart analogy. And basically, just imagine for a second that if you had the so-called better mousetrap and you wanted to sell this through retail, and Walmart allowed you to, being the biggest retailer in the world, Walmart allowed you to put your mousetrap, for a lack of a better example, on a shelf in every single one of their stores around the world. And more importantly, they allow you to do this at almost zero cost. And the only time it's going to cost you any money is if someone actually purchases one of your mousetraps. If they do, Walmart's going to charge you a 15% commission for that purchase. And really, folks, if you've never been in this retail game or getting store or product into stores, this is a profound opportunity that before now has never been seen and never been offered. Amazon gives us access to literally hundreds of millions of their consumers under their brand name, Amazon.com, to sell our products. That's why I think this is a great opportunity for everyone. So, give you a little background on how we've gotten to where we're at. Seth, which should be watching this live broadcast, Seth and I started a little Amazon selling business in January of this year. We really didn't get started selling until middle of January. But just to give you a quick overview of how fast we've grown this business, doing exactly the model that I'm trying to teach everyone is in January we had 20. These numbers are going to be rounded up or rounded down a little bit. Don't quote me, but it's going to be really close based on SES reporting. So January sales were right around $20,000, which was a pretty good start. After January, February we grew a little bit to 30,000. Then we went quickly to 50,000, then 90,000, $110,000. June, it seems like we were at 167. In July, we were over 180,000. August, we just booked $242,000 in gross sales. And September, I'm told that we're projecting 330,000 in sales in September, and we're talking about in 8 little months here, guys. And when we started at zero, just like everyone else. We had a little bit of product, a little bit of inventory, and really we've changed our business plan and the overall strategy several times. So let's see. So that's the background. Like I said, guys, in the meantime, while we're having this conversation, I want you guys to go ahead and post over on the right side any questions that you have so that I can get to them, and I'll sort those out as we go. I'm winging it because this is my first shot live, but we got to do what we got to do to grow, right? So one of the things that I think is pretty exciting about the Amazon opportunity is that there's almost no barrier to entry. So literally anyone with any education or lack of education can pretty much enter this business with almost no cost. And the older I get here, it's harder for me to multitask, so I apologize. I got to get rid of some of these questions. Wow, technology. But like I was saying, for the average Joe to get into a real business where you can grow real customers and buy and sell real products online, Amazon provides a platform that makes that almost so easy a caveman can do it. Not trying to say anyone out here is a caveman, but to give you an example, and I think my new pastor, JD, should be watching. He's on the road driving to Austin right now, but he promised me he would watch from his phone while in the car, which I would never suggest. Seems kind of dangerous to me. But JD and his family came after church last Sunday, had dinner with my wife and I and the kids in our home, and we got to talking after dinner about Amazon, and he was asking me what it is that I do and that sort of thing, what guys like to talk about. And, I quickly shared with him my enthusiasm for Amazon and the opportunity for online sales. Being in the product game my entire life, Amazon has opened so many doors for me, and I literally think that anyone can do it. So I share the opportunity with JD, and this was Sunday of last week, and let me find our conversation here real quick. So Sunday would be my calendar here. I'm just going to give you guys an idea how easy this is. So JD and I had our conversation on Sunday the 6th, and well, I take that back. That's funny. Saturday was the 6th. JD, sorry, buddy. That would be Sunday the 31st of August. So exactly 4 days later, on September 4th, JD sends me a text. He says, okay, I've gone through all the way to Module 6 on the ASM system, which deals with their proprietary marketing software to increase rankings. This is 4 days, guys. I picked a product. I've completed the branding trademark process, contacted suppliers in India and China, written product description, keywords, completed branding, label, logo, and next is to fill inventory. YouTube video. I'm going to get product samples first, so no mess ups. Been lots of fun to go through, and we'll need to talk with you about the best ways of increasing in rank since I don't have access to the tools. So we're talking about 4 days here, guys. Now, I don't know if I know the folks that I met in Vegas were there, but one of the things I thought was kind of strange when I went to the ASM Live event in Vegas, I was surrounded by 2,600 people. And Seth and I tried our best to meet as many people as we possibly could. And I have to say that I was pretty much disappointed because most of the people, and we're talking about 95 or more percentage of the people, guys, were doing absolutely nothing with the opportunity. They're sitting on the same opportunity and the same information that you and I have, but doing nothing with it. They're pretty much at the starting gate, waiting for the starting gun, which is never going to happen unless they start making moves. So JD, my pastor here at the local church, he picks the opportunity up and runs with it immediately. And you wouldn't believe it if I told you how many people I run into in Vegas who actually been sitting on this program for months or even over a year and haven't even opened an Amazon account, let alone selected a product. So Seth and I made it our goal at that point to help as many people as we possibly can get up and running as fast as possible, because, you know, truthfully, guys, we want to be sitting in a room or on a Google Hangout surrounded by millionaires who made it on Amazon doing exactly what we're talking about. And just to be upfront, there's nothing in this for me. I don't have anything to sell you if you wanted to buy it. I'm not going to pitch you on some meetup group, you know, in Cabo or something like some guys, which, you know, I have a lot of respect for guys who do that, but we're actually doing this for a totally different reason. We just want to help people get up and running, and we believe that if we collaborate together and learn as we go, we can share best practices and those sort of things, and all of us get better as time goes on. Who knows, maybe someday we'll have this this gathering where we can all have a personal mastermind or something like that, but it's really not on the radar at this time, and you know, there's nothing really in it for me. I'm just dedicating my time and effort for anyone who wants it. So you know about our business and the way we grew it, and you know, like I said, Seth and I are both from the get-go, when we found out how simple this business really was, we decided to share this with everyone that we know and care about, because we honestly believe, like I said, that anyone can do it. So just a little bit of background on me, and I will keep it short so you understand what we're talking about. I grew up in a small town in Indiana and learned early on in high school about buying and selling. I've been into products, you know, physical products that I call something you can drop on your foot for my entire adult life, and never sold any information products or anything like that. It was always real physical goods, and built up a couple of sizable businesses over time, you know, a couple of which I've been able to sell out to someone bigger than myself, and it was a fun trip. But you know, being in the product business, every year or every season, I had to go out and locate some type of hot product in a market that I didn't know existed. Excuse me, my little girl's going to join me for a second. We had to go out and find product every season or so, and more importantly, we had to, you know, take a chance on this and buy inventory or find a manufacturer or something like that to go and basically bring that product to market, not knowing whether or not it would work. Now, we went through a lot of testing and things like that, but you know, if I was really working at my best, I could launch 5 or 6 new items a year, and this is really humping, guys. And this is from conception to finding a manufacturer, packaging, branding the product, creating marketing materials that we would put out the old-fashioned way in direct mail and direct response ads. And then we would field the calls in my own call center, take orders over the phone, process credit cards, and actually fulfill the orders. All the headache stuff that no one wants to deal with that Amazon does for us every single day. So for me to get into this game, you know, it was a perfect fit, because we've always had a lot of connections in Asia with product and manufacturers, and we've always been involved in marketing. Really, my background's marketing. I've always marketed my products. You know, a lot or a little didn't matter, but you know, I was out there marketing widgets before I even knew the term marketing, honestly. All right, go in the other room, kiddo. Sorry about that. Okay, so back then, like I said, we would do one product at a time. And, you know, the Amazon opportunity allows me and you and everyone else out there to literally launch products at will. And for a long time there, we slowed down a little bit, but Seth and I, every time we would conceive a new product idea using my product mining system on Amazon, we would literally launch new products almost every single day. And I know that sounds crazy for the people that are still sitting at the starting gate, but it's 100% true, guys. And we would launch product and find out almost within 24 hours if it was even viable or not. So that's really profound when you come where I came from. So let's see. One of the things I wanted to share with you today was the increase in pricing. So a lot of you guys that are already in the game, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, or maybe you've heard it through some of the chat rooms or meetups, but we took a select few products in the last few weeks, and now we're going through our entire line and selecting things that we have pretty good traction on already, and good seller ranking, and basically showing up high in the search results on any given page for our search terms on Amazon. And we started increasing our pricing. And what I mean by that is, if we're selling 50 widgets a day at $10, all of a sudden we start raising our price to $12. We're still selling 50. And in some cases, we even increase those sales 10%. We may sell 55. And there's just a handful of items right now that we just keep increasing the price and increasing the price every 5 to 6 days, and really not getting any fall off on sales. So if you guys are still selling your product at the same price that you started at, I highly recommend that you do some testing, because chances are the price that you started at is probably not the best price to be selling your product at. To be specific, we actually have an item that we launched in March this year, and right now it's doing about $20,000 a week in sales, 18 to 20,000. When we first launched that item, we actually did it at $24.99. So we got some ranking with the keywords. We started moving up the page and whatnot, and early on, we just figured, well, we'll just be the best price in this category so that we can own the category and own the page. And we did that, but for some reason, I think Seth came up with the idea to raise the price, a few bucks. So we went from $24.99, we went to $29.99, and sales actually increased. So I don't know about you guys, but when I'm buying a product on Amazon, price is important, but it's not the number one determining factor on which item that I purchase. And I find out more and more every day that people just don't want cheap stuff on Amazon. Some people just want good quality, and they associate high price with good quality. So that particular item went to $29, went to $34.99, and for the last few months we've been selling that product for $37.99, and we figured we'd reach the top. Well, we were wrong, because just about, let's see, on Thursday or Friday of last week, talking to my business partner on the phone, we decided to raise that price to $49.99, which was really our only competitor in that category as far as front page goes. And as far as I can tell, guys, the sales have not slipped at all. We're selling just as many items at $50 as we did for $37.99. And I know that's counterintuitive, but the facts are the facts. We have other products that we started at $19. Right now are selling at $60, and it seems like the higher the price that we sell for, the better ranking we get. So that $60 item right now, we're the number one bestseller in a major category. And I'm not talking about those obscure subcategories. I'm talking about in the main category, we're the number one bestseller, and we're the highest priced item by at least 20 bucks. And we actually have people selling a similar product for 19, 22, things like that. We're $59.99. And we're number one. So this is something that I think everyone needs to know, because if we get stuck in a rut, we're making good money selling some widget at 20 bucks. We really need to test 22, 25, 29, and even higher. And what I suggest is raise your price in increments that you can deal with, and do a test for 5 to 7 days until you can test 7-day trailing sales versus the prior 7 days if all things are the same. It really is amazing how that works. Oh, okay. The other thing that I like to suggest for this is something that we've really learned the hard way, guys, and what it is, it's a trademark and copyright protection. So if you folks are following the system of branding your own product and selling it on Amazon, then you know what a hassle it can be to deal with these so-called hijackers. So it got to be for us in our business, it was almost a daily job to go in there and fight with the hijackers who were selling a similar product under our listing that we worked for, promoted and marketed, and basically shipping something that was generic, that was similar but not exactly the same. So we've actually come up with about 5 steps that we like to go through to get rid of these hijackers. And I know if any of you out there have experienced the hijackers, I'm telling you, this is a major part of your business. If you deal with it every day, it's something you spend a lot of time on. It's frustrating as all get out, because what happens, and no one's immune to this. I've done it. Seth's had some of the same experience, but when a hijacker is going after you, or bullying you on price, or turning you into Amazon or something like that, trying to get you shut down because you're asking them to get off your listing, it's real easy to slip into a groove of or something of going after this guy and starting a smear campaign. And to me, it's easy to get caught up in all the negativism of fighting these hijackers, when really you should be spending most of your time on building your business and building your own brand. It's hard to do that when guys are coming in and so-called eating your lunch, but we've come up with a pretty good system of doing that, and I'd be happy to share that in more detail. But just to keep it short, what you need to do is contact a trademark attorney and register, instead of registering one trademark for each product, because even if you're only in one category or one item right now, once you taste the blood, I think it's just human nature. You guys are going to want to start new products and add to your business in different categories. So highly recommend it. I wish I'd have done it early on, but what you need to do is get with a trademark attorney, one of which I could recommend, and register yourself what we call a global trademark for all of your products. And basically all I'm suggesting is have this trademark, whatever it is, ABC widgets or something like that. It's nothing that you're not gonna go out and promote it or advertise it. It's not going to be valuable in any way, but it's easier to register some obscure brand name so that you can have this printed on all of your materials, all of your packaging for your product, and things like that. And once all your product comes in, even if you're in several different categories, if you have this XYZ widget brand, something like that on each item, then you're going to be able to claim trademark to Amazon by basically you'll report these hijack sellers to Amazon through the Seller Central platform and say, hey, look, this guy's illegally using my trademark. Here's proof of the trademark was issued, that my company owns this, and we have all the rights to it. And we've found that among many other things out there, we can get people removed from our listings pretty quickly. And it'll also allow you to register your brand with Amazon, which by doing that, you can lock the listing down. Because we've actually had hijackers go in with our listing that we've already generated tons of sales on, got to the top of the page. Believe it or not, I don't mean to scare you, but these guys actually went in there, changed the brand name on our listing, changed the photos that we had in the listing, changed the description and everything, and basically took it over as their own. Totally commandeered our listing, and that was really an uphill battle with Amazon, but luckily we were able to get that straightened out. And a lot of that has to do with locking your listing down by being a registered brand. Let me just take a pause here for a minute. Malcolm has a question. He says, how to get increase in sales, spending $25 a day on Amazon ads to get one sale. Mind you, it's only 3 days old. It's $1 per click to hit page 1. Yeah, I understand your frustration there, Malcolm. From our experience, Seth is listening, but unfortunately he's not able to help present in this format. But what he does, he manages all of our Amazon pay-per-click advertising. And he's actually assured me through lots of charts and historical data that we're making money on 100% of our Amazon pay-per-click advertising. And for those of you who don't know what pay-per-click advertising on Amazon is, it's basically like Google AdWords, where you would go in and bid for a keyword to show, so your product would show up in search to generate sales. So. And from my experience, Malcolm, it's a really good question. If I were you, I would let that thing roll for 7 to 10 days, For some reason, Seth's informed me that it takes several days for these results to come back. They're definitely not instantaneous, and when we're actually buying the words, give it minimum 5 days. I would say 7 days if you can afford the budget, and then look at your results and go in there and weed out the keywords that are not producing sales. And by tweaking that a little bit at a time, you should be able to make that profitable. I honestly don't know of any circumstance where we were able to bid on keywords after tweaking our ads on Amazon that wasn't wildly successful. Worst case scenario, we get 2-to-1 on our sales, which is really doesn't generate a profit for us. But if you go to Amazon and type in a certain keyword, use the silicone spatula, for example, and you see within the page results one branded product, and then off to the right side in that margin you also see the same brand, and then at the bottom of the page, like we have in several scenarios, you see the brand again. I mean, that just creates a lot of security in the consumer's mind. It gives you a lot of clout on the Amazon platform, and it lets them know that you are a professional. And I think people are more inclined to buy your product that way. And this is from experience. This is not theory. I mean, we've actually spent our real money on this and tested it, and it works perfectly. So if you'd like more information on that, send me an email, SeanHart317@gmail, and I'll be happy to ask Seth to get in touch with you about his experience there. Okay, how were they able to log into your inventory account? This is from, Leonard. Not even going to try the last name, but if your product is not a listed or registered brand on Amazon, and especially if you were to stock out on your particular item, if you run out of inventory, then anyone who claims that they have that product can go in there and change the listing. And that means pictures, that means brand, price, description, you name it, until you actually register that brand with Amazon. They won't shut it down. And Amazon gives all third-party sellers, the benefit of the doubt that they have what they say they have, and that they allow them to go in there and change those different things on your listing. So I know it's not fair, but this is the only way we found to fight that, is to register the brand and lock the listing down, which turns out to be a hassle too, because you want to make sure you have all your tweaks done on that particular listing, because if you don't, you won't be able to go in there and change the pictures or the description or price yourself. Or I'm sorry, you can change the price, but you can't. You won't be able to change the photos or the title or anything like that. So make sure you have all the bugs worked out. Your product's producing what you want it to before you go in there and start locking it down. Because we just had this conversation recently, and Seth says, "Oh, wait a minute, that's a registered brand. That listing's locked, so we can't get it." You're more than welcome, Malcolm. Hopefully that answered your question too, Leonard. Let me move on. This is when we talk about 2,600 or 2,800 people that I seen at the ASM Live event in Las Vegas. Like I said, it was really disturbing to me to see how many people had spent thousands of dollars for this system and were still stuck on square one. I mean, I'm talking about engineers and school teachers and real estate agents that we'd met in Vegas. And really, I went to Vegas. Seth and I spent the money, took the time to go to Vegas so that we can find people that were doing better than what we were doing, so that we can learn from them, hopefully. And it turned out to be we were doing more teaching than we were learning. Granted, made a lot of great contacts, Brandon being one of them. Hopefully he's enjoying my little broadcast here on his drive home in Seattle. But we appreciate your friendship, Brandon, and all the stuff we were allowed to share together. I'm going to see you next week, buddy. So anyway, what I was getting at, it was really disturbing to me how many people were just were stuck on, maybe they'd opened their Amazon account, but they had not yet selected a product to sell or something like that. So, and what I like to tell them, since Amazon makes everything transparent for us, by what I mean by that is they actually tell us what sells, so they're able to, expose us to markets that we otherwise wouldn't be exposed to. So one of the best writers of all time that I like and I highly recommend if anyone's interested in any type of marketing is Gary Halbert. And Gary passed away back in 2008, I believe it was. So I got to know a couple of his sons, one better than the other. uh, a few years ago, and but nothing's like Gary. Sons are brilliant marketers themselves, but Gary Halbert was a genius in his own right, and this guy did a free newsletter back before we had podcasts and Google Hangouts and things like that. He actually wrote it out by hand, photocopied and sent a newsletter all through the 70s and 80s, and it was called the Gary Halbert Letter. So highly recommend if anybody wants to learn more about marketing, copywriting, that type of thing, or just general business. Just go into Google and type the Gary Halbert Letter, or I think the website, if I remember, is thegaryhalbertletter.com. And one of the stories Gary tells, which comes up a lot when I'm discussing Amazon with people who don't know any better, is Gary says, one of the questions I like to ask my students is, and I'm quoting this, if you and I both owned a hamburger stand and we were in a contest to see who would sell the most hamburgers, what advantages would you most like to have on your side? So the answers normally vary. Gary says some people say they'd like to have the advantage of having superior meat from which to make their hamburgers. Others say they want sesame seed buns. Others want the best location, or the brightest sign, or the best prices. They want to be able to offer lower prices on superior food, those type of things, and so on. But anyway, Gary says after the students are finished telling what advantages they would most like to have, I say to them, okay, and this is what Amazon does for us, guys, so pay attention here. Gary says, okay, I'll give you every single advantage you ask for. I myself only want one advantage, and if you'll give me that one advantage, I'll whip the pants off of all of you when it comes to selling hamburgers. Now, obviously, everyone wants to know what that one advantage is, and for those of you that know me a little better, you know what it is. Gary's student says, well, what advantage do you want? And he says, and I quote, the only advantage I want is a starving crowd. Now think about it. What Gary's trying to teach here is that, we should constantly be on the lookout for groups of people, or markets, we call them, who have demonstrated that they're starving or at least hungry for some particular product or service. Now, in my old business, in a former life, I like to call it, it was hard to gauge that hunger, because we had to actually create a product or a version of it, go out there and promote it, and see what the response was based on how many phone calls it generated. I was personally involved in a market test for one of the products that we sell online just yesterday over in Salina, Ohio. I sent a man over there with one of my products to sell offline using some of my old strategies, and he actually had to show up with a truckload of merchandise, spend a couple $1,000s on an ad, and talk to customers, that sort of thing, set up shop, and the deal lost money. I think we spent a couple $1,000s testing it, plus a lot of time and energy. And the bottom line is it didn't work. So Amazon really makes this easy for us, guys. That product doesn't sell offline, but when I first got into that particular category, it was a real simple decision for me, because I could literally go on to Amazon, search what I thought the keyword would lead people to that product, and based on those search results, I can look and see what the bestseller rank was on the guys that were at the top of their game there. So it was really an easy decision for me when there's an item that's selling for $44.99. It's highly ranked in household goods, and my cost on it's $7 landed at my doorstep. To me, that's a no-brainer. And if it wasn't for Amazon making that information available to me and you, I would never be into that business. And that particular item sells $18,000 to $20,000 a week on Amazon. And when I'm sharing my business numbers with you guys, I'm talking about Amazon sales only. We're getting $330,000 this month only on Amazon. That doesn't include all the other ancillary sites like Groupon and Living Social. I mean, we just did a deal on Living Social in the last 3 weeks that grossed over $500,000 in sales for us. And had it not been for Amazon opening the door to that product opportunity, we would have never had those sales. So kudos to Amazon, and got to give a shout out to Matt and Jason for sharing the knowledge with us. Amazon, it's totally transparent, guys. And when I talk to these people, the reason I told the story about Gary Halbert and his burger stand is when I talk to these guys in Vegas or in my own meetup group in Indy about selecting a product, it's pretty crazy how many people want to go in and reinvent the wheel. Like, I have an old buddy, Uncle Joe, I call him. No relation, but I've known him since I was a little kid. Pardon me. Uncle Joe comes to me after our meetup last month. He says, "Hey, say, Sean, I got an idea for a great new product." Okay, what is it, Joe? All right, he's got this idea of a better fan belt, some type of fan belt that's adjustable in case you find yourself broke down on the side of the road somewhere and you need a fan belt. This one's one size fits all. It's a great product, but the problem is there's no market for it. So, like my old business, if there was no market for it, we had to go out there and create a market for it and go out and try to sell it. And I'm telling you, that is definitely an uphill battle that once you're spoiled on the Amazon platform, nobody's going to want to take that trip. So it's easier, guys, to go out there and find that quote unquote starving crowd because they're already searching for this item, they're already purchasing it, they're already happy with it, they're telling their friends, and it's just easy for you and I to go out there and tap into that category that's already hot. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to have the next better mousetrap. All we have to do is find out what people want and basically just give them what they want. It really is that simple. Danny Brewer, I'm sorry, Malcolm says, Facebook ads versus Amazon ads. Which do you find better, or both? Honestly, Malcolm, I hate to say this, but you put me on the spot. We can't make Facebook ads pay out. I don't know if that's just my operation, but in my opinion, Mike, we call him the Beast. He should be one of these viewers on here. And if you're there, Mike, tell me if I'm wrong by posting a question. But Michael's been working on this Facebook ads for us for several weeks now, and he hasn't showed me 1 ounce of evidence that says that Facebook ads is better for us than the Amazon pay-per-click ads. Facebook ads, I think, is a good place. If you can get a following going on Facebook for a particular category, it's a great place to launch a product when you want to get it promoted and going. But we can't, at this point, we haven't been able to make that a paying proposition. So thanks for that, Malcolm. I'm getting a little bit behind here, sorry. Are your multiple products related in a category? This is what Leonard asked me. No, Leonard, we actually have, in any particular category, we may have a product that, we may have 3 or 4 products in one category, but overall we have dozens of items that we're promoting. And, for example, one category that we're the leader in, we have 3 products in that category. There's another niche category where we have 4 or 5 products in that category. The category I was talking about where I increased the product to $49 the price, in that particular category we sell the exact same item under 3 or 4 different listings, and the listings, what marketers like to call it, are positioned differently. For example, one of the listings would be positioned for someone who has a certain need. The other product will be positioned toward using keywords people have another need. In reality, it's the exact same product under the same label and the same brand, but we sell it with different positioning, the same way you would anything offline. Danny asked, where's the best place to source U.S. companies? Really, Danny, 100% of what I buy in the last 10 years has all came from Asia, but a lot of times, I like to start my research with the Thomas directory if I'm looking for a manufacturer in the U.S., and also you can use Alibaba.com, and you can filter your results to only show manufacturers or suppliers in the U.S. So just go to Alibaba, and when it on the left side somewhere where it shows locations, you can just show locations from the U.S. and you'd be surprised. A lot of times you'll actually find manufacturers or wholesalers in the U.S. But working on a project right now where I need a special formula of a liquid item that can't be shipped by air. So we're buying the product from our manufacturer in China, all the plastic components and packaging, but the liquid I'm sourcing domestically, and I like the Thomas Registry. It's a free service to use. Just do a Google search for Thomas Registry and you'll find that. Hopefully that answers your question there. Thank you, Rowdy, for the kind words. And yes, this is being recorded. It'll be posted on my YouTube channel as soon as we're finished with this. Okay, keeping pace here. Thank you for your question, Danny. Hopefully I answered that. Okay, Landon says, what has been your best launch strategy? Okay, this is easy. Thanks, Landon, for being easy on me. Landon says, what's been your best launch strategy, and are you launching by sending promotions to existing lists you have built? The answer is yes. You answered my question, Landon. The best launch strategy that we've came up with so far is by launching to our existing list of buyers whom we've massaged from the purchasing process and saying, hey, look, guys, well, I'll just tell you, Amazon will give you access to everyone who purchases your item. And if you go in and look at the order number, or look at the order itself by clicking the order number link, you can go in there and find the customer's telephone number. And what I like to do, and what we've trained our staff to do, we're in the process of outsourcing this overseas now, is to just call that customer and say, hey, look, this is Landon calling. Want to make sure that I'm calling from ABC Widget Company, whatever the name of your company is, and calling about your order of your widget, on July 17th. Pick a date, and basically want to make sure that you were happy with your purchase, you received what you were expecting, and ask that you do a couple of things for us. If you'll go give us a good review about this product, post a 5-star review if you agree it's a good item, and send us a link to the review, then I'll add you to our VIP list. And the VIP list is basically our in-house list where when you're actually, if you leave good non-biased reviews on our product, whenever we launch something new, we'll send you an email first with a coupon code that allows you to go on to Amazon and buy our product at a super discount, or in some cases free. And I like to do free. So these types of lists, they're easy to start if you start with friends and family. I think some of the people on the call will probably remember when I actually sent out masses of text messages back in March, April, or May, something like that, saying, hey, look, I really need you guys to support me here. I need you to go use this coupon code, go to Amazon, you can buy my product, whatever it was, and I'll give it to you for free. Your net cost using the code would be $0, but I just ask that you go in and post a positive, we have to say non-biased, but obviously I don't want you to post a bad review, but go in, post a review of the product, and send me a link to your review, and I'll keep you on the list for future promotions. And we found that we're able to build that list to several hundred people in less than a month, just by calling friends and family to get your initial list started. They'll ask if they can add their friends. I have an attorney that I work with, has his entire office staff of women. They can't wait to get our new promotions to go out, and really that's the way to do it. So get friends and family going first. When you get ready to promote something, make it irresistible, make it where they can't really afford not to buy it, and highly incentivize them. And then call your customers afterwards one by one and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I represent, this is what I want from you. If you're okay with that, I'll put you on the list. What's your email address? Because Amazon doesn't give us their email address through the Amazon platform, so you have to call and ask for that. And we found that's the best way to start a list, and also the best way to do a new launch. Sorry, my computer's lagging here. You think with 100 megabits per second download that wouldn't happen? Okay, Joyce asks, how much did you pay for a global trademark registration, your trademark attorney? Really good question, Joyce, and I'm going to tell you right now. Actually, the gentleman is probably on the call. Let me find his email address. Gene, I hope you don't kill me, buddy, but I'm giving out your information. He does it right around $300 for getting everything up and running, and you want to go to, I'll post this as a question too, but gxbesq1@gmail.com. Phonetically, it's Golf, X-ray, Bravo, Echo, Sierra, Quebec, and the number 1 at gmail.com. Let me just copy this address. There we go. And wow, I can't ask myself a question apparently. Well, if you guys didn't get the email, for some reason I don't know how to post it on here. So yeah, just email me if you didn't get that, seanhart317@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to share it with you. Malcolm says, do you believe in this system of giving away products for $1 just to get reviews and ranking, which can drop again after you stop it? Absolutely, without a doubt, Malcolm. Thanks to my friend Brandon, who I hope was on the call. Brandon shared with me through his research that the secret formula would be 40 sales per day, 3 days in a row. This will launch your product to the top of the page. And we've seen it over and over and over. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 times, guys. I'm talking about 50 times or more. I've used this exact same approach for myself and my clients, and it works without fail. So the thing that you have to think about here, Malcolm, is if you're in some product or category that people don't want anyway. I mean, if you have perfect example, this special commemorative coin that I had this brainstorm on one time. It sells okay, but I thought it would get better. I was speculating. I guess that's the old Sean Hart, but Seth knows which coin I'm talking about. But it sells all right. But when I first started, we couldn't really get it going. Thank you, Alan, for posting that. We couldn't really get it going for. I'm going to select Alan's question so that it puts it up here. You guys can see there's the email address if you want cut and paste it, and that is 100% correct, Alan. Thank you. Where was I? You believe? Oh yeah. To actually to sell a product that people don't want is something that no one can do. I don't care how good a marketer you are. I don't care if you give away 100 of them a day and launch to the top of the page. If it's something that people aren't buying anyway, you're just spinning your wheels. And so I'm not trying to sound condescending, Malcolm, and you probably already know this, but if you're in a product that people just can't wait to buy, that they're knocking the doors down, and it's selling 10,000 a day, and everybody wants it, take the Beanie Baby of the 90s or the 80s or whenever that was. That was something that everybody wanted and they couldn't get enough of. So if you go into some category, in lawn and garden or something, and you have a product that's really not that hot anyway, if it's only selling 5 or 6 units a day and you try to promote it, you can promote it until you're blue in the face, and it's never going to be a hot item. So that's why I like to use the Gary Halbert theory. Go out there, find the starving crowd, and find out what it is that they want to buy, and just give it to them. And that's what we do. So not sure if that's exactly what you're doing, but to answer your question, I believe 100% in the system. We do them for $1. We give them away. Some of you on the call are actually on my list, and it works without fail every single time. And if we ever start to get a little slippage, we just do another promo. And even though it's hard to get, even if it's free, it's sometimes hard to get people to take the same item twice. And that's where you might want to try some of Cats and Back's Facebook strategies for launching. But yeah, if you have a product you want to launch, anyone on the call, I was gonna say this later, but while it's on my mind, email me, and we can get it to our list if you want to. Get your first item out there. What we do is send it to a segmented part of my launch list, and do that 2 or 3 days in a row if we can to help you. And if you're in a hot category and you have lots of competition and everybody's making money but you, this is the only way that I know of to get to the top quickly. And like I said, if you're in a product that's not selling anyway, not for you or anyone else, you might as well just get out of that and get into something else, because I definitely subscribe to that system. Okay. Done with Alan's. Hopefully everybody got that email address. Landon says, how do you decide on what product to launch next? Does each one meet all the ASM criteria, or do you go with your gut or a lot more of the time? That's a good question, Landon. I'll just address that now. Pretty much my entire office staff, which consists of myself and Seth and Michael, who's on the call, all but our supercomputer geek man, the Beast, we all pretty much, we're always on the lookout for new products, but to make a long story short, it has to fit a model for us. It has to be smaller than a loaf of bread. It has to have a 5 times markup or 500% markup, however you want to put it. 20% cost. Basically, we buy it for $2, sell it for $10. It has to sell for between $10 and $40, and it has to be able to weigh less than a pound, so it's easy to ship. Those type of things. It has to be in super high demand. The number one thing, remember what Halbert says, you want a hungry crowd. You have to have a starving crowd. If you have a starving crowd, you just feed them what it is that they want. That's the reason why they get $12 for a beer at a football game, because they have a thirsty crowd that wants beer. And they're the only game in town, and ideally that's what you're looking for, Landon. Hopefully that answers your question. Joyce says things seem to be quite easy to you. What are your leading marketing ways? My business takes off slowly. My product went live 2 weeks ago. I'm selling 2 a day without promotion. I just turned on Amazon ad today at 60 cents, I believe she's saying, but it did not even show up. What else can I do? Okay. One at a time. Joyce, things are quite easy. Yeah, to me, it's easy, and I make it seem a little bit easier than it is, but it's definitely easy enough that I invited my 60-some-year-old father to join the party, and I honestly believe that anyone can do it. But since I've always had access to product overseas and marketing is my background, the opportunity came natural to me because obviously I was already in the game. I was just playing a different style. So it is easy. Me and everyone else that you'll find out there in the forums, they're willing to make it easy for you too, and I'll help you. But the leading marketing way, if you're talking about same thing, the last question was about how to promote something. We believe that get your product. Let's see. Once you go through what I call the product mining on Amazon and you identify a product opportunity, which is something that's in super high demand, it's lightweight, it's got a high markup, and there's a lot of competition that really don't know what they're doing, then you can really go in there and eat their lunch, so to speak. And to market that, basically what we'll do, we have a process that we go through to create a listing. We create the listing title. We using samples, we'll shoot some really high quality photos. We have an in-house photo studio. You guys can farm this stuff out anywhere, elance.com or onlinejobs.com, places like that. Actually, Brandon, my buddy there, he actually has a person in Serbia who does product rendering. He actually created photographs, if you will, of his product for his listing without ever having the product in hand, which I thought was pretty cool. So create the listing and write your description, use the keyword-rich titling, that type of thing that ASM teaches you. And once you have your URL code, then you can start promoting it on, through your blogs and your newsletters, backlinking, YouTube videos, that type of thing. But as soon as you have the product in your hand, what we like to do it through FBA, which makes it a lot simpler for people when you do a promo. And if you want to babysit it, what you can do is launch a promo to your friends and family, and maybe that's 10 or 12 or 15 people. Somebody has computer access and internet. They can go to Amazon using the promo code that you'll create under the advertising section of Seller Central and get your product for free or a super deep discount. And that's the best way that we found to market this. And once your product starts getting traction on Amazon, believe me, guys, this happens to us every day. Affiliates start picking it up. When you're the best-selling item in a category and you're the highest price, affiliates can pick up your item and start promoting it on other websites, linking their buyers back to your listings page, and Amazon gives them a piece of that commission that they collect from us. And when that starts happening, it really is a snowball effect. So Joyce also says, my business takes off slowly. My product went live 2 weeks ago. I'm selling 2. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if your product's live 2 weeks ago, what I like to look at is take your #1 keyword that you believe people use to find your product. And if you're not doing this already, go into Merchant Words, which is a handy tool at merchantwords.com. Punch in your keyword on Merchant Words, and somehow it goes in and what the beast calls it, scrapes the Amazon system for keywords that are relevant to that keyword that people are searching for. Make sure you incorporate all these keywords in your title, and you should start getting some organic results immediately. But as soon as you have product in your hand and you've already proven that it's a viable system, the markup's there, it fits all the other criteria, then absolutely do a launch. I mean, do a one-day launch if you have to, and prove to yourself that you can get ranked in the pages. Because what happens, guys, if we all go to Amazon and we're searching for the silicone spatula, okay, how many times? I mean, well, think about Google. How many times do you go to Google and do a Google search and you scroll to page 7, 8, or 9 to find the results? If you're like me, almost never. Your results are always going to be in the first one, two, or even three organic results on the first page, and that's all you look for. And that's the same way people buy on Amazon. So here's what I believe: if you search for silicone spatula or whatever your widget is, and you're on page 18, well, sometime somebody may or may not find you, and if they like your product and price, they'll buy it. But if you can force Amazon to move your product up to page one using the system that we're talking about your product promotions, once you're on page one and people are searching for silicone spatula and they're seeing you in the top 3 or 4 or 5 results, the organic sales are going to take over right from the get-go. As soon as you start making organic sales, Amazon's going to reward you for that and keep you at the top. That's why I told the last question was about, do I believe in the system? Yes, but only if you're in a category or a product that sells fast. If there's a market for it, then you can feed that market, and that's what we're teaching. So that's the best way to market it. Let's see. Joyce also says selling 2 a day. Just turn on Amazon, 60 cents. Yeah, what I recommend on your Amazon ad, don't be scared, Joyce. Set your budget low if you have to, if it's $5 a day, but set your bid amount at like $1.50 or $2, something like that. You're not going to spend it. For all of our Amazon ads that I've seen, we never spend what we bid on something, but that'll give you a good gauge of what it takes to get that traffic. And like I said, evaluate your market. If your market's not there, if no one else is selling them, you're not going to sell them either, no matter what you do. Okay, hopefully that helps out a little bit about with your question. David Wu says hello. Hello, David. Glad you're there joining us from China. And Malcolm says, you don't have to mention this or read it out loud. Okay, I won't. Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to get back up and running here. Let me know if you guys can hear me, if you don't mind, please. So while I'm waiting on someone to type in whether they can hear me or not, just so you know what happened, it wasn't a terrorist attack or anything. I actually lost power. So I found out after I moved to Houston why most of my neighbors have these backup generators all around, because the power seems to go out without any warning almost every other day. So anyway, I'm back on. Somebody tell me if they can hear me or not. Okay. If you can hear me, Malcolm, for your question that you said, that's fine. You can, yeah, email it to me. I'll give you an honest opinion on it. You know, we look at stuff every day, so yeah, go ahead and send it to me, Malcolm. My email address is seanhart317@gmail.com. I lost my fancy little gizmo at the bottom of the screen, I see, but that's fine. Working on wrapping this up now. We get these questions. Email me, let me know. Okay, thank you, Malcolm. Category. So, okay, here we go. I'm gonna take 2 more questions real quick, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I had a couple of notes. So, Malcolm, how do you know if there's a market for the product you're going to sell? Simple. Good question, Malcolm. But simply go back onto go to Amazon.com, look at the product. You know, pull up the product that you're trying to sell, and look, see number one, how many people show up for that keyword. Don't pay much attention to the reviews. For me, a lot of reviews just means that they've been at it for a long time, because reviews on Amazon are definitely manipulated. But go look at the bestseller rank on the item, and that should give you a pretty good clue. One of the tools that I like to use, it's definitely not science, but it's FBAtoolkit.com. That's FBA as in fulfillment by Amazon. FBAtoolkit.com. It'll have all the different categories listed. So punch in the bestseller rank on the category that interests you, and it'll give you an idea of a rolling average of what sold per day in the last 30 days. And from my experience, because I have a lot of product on there, if we do a test, if FBA Toolkit tells me it's selling 40 a day, we're probably selling 80 or 100 a day. So it's about half right most of the time. So that'll give you a good idea. Danny Brewer, I just have to show you. He says, are the Colts going to win? As soon as I get off the call, I'm going to go watch my boy Peyton Manning get his ass whipped, hopefully, because even though I'm in Houston, Texas now, I'm still a Colts fan and probably always will be. So let's see here. Let me get through these. Yes, we can hear. In the beginning, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, but Lilia, in the beginning, high quality premium packaging is not important, because for me, it's all for naught if you prove that the product's not viable. For me, we like to go test. First, we'll get a sample from our supplier. We'll check the quality. We'll create a listing based on the sample, and if that includes photoshopping our brand onto the sample. And I can show you a lot of examples of that, just to get up and running and to brand it. And then once we've sold several hundred units or a couple thousand units in some cases, and we prove to ourselves that it's viable and there's legs, then we'll hire someone on elance.com or another site to create a custom packaging for us. In my opinion, custom packaging is only going to be valuable if you actually show it in your listing, because you know, when you're selling stuff in mail order, which I always have, it's really, you know, the packaging's irrelevant. You know, packaging to me, if it's fancy and looks nice, it's made to be sitting on a store shelf. Well, we're not in that business. So as far as fancy, it doesn't need to be high quality or premium. It just needs to be, it needs to be proprietary, or it needs to differentiate you from others. And if it does that, then in my opinion, that's good enough, as long as it sets you apart from other people. And it doesn't have to be done right away. Lilia, looking forward to talking to you tomorrow on our private interview. Okay, let's see. Okay, there is a local meetup in Houston, but I'm a part of it. You can find my meetup group at meetup.com. Search for Amazon Sellers Alliance in Indianapolis, Indiana, and find my profile. And I'm a part of a meetup group that does the same thing in Texas or in Houston area, but just so happens that I'm normally in Indiana for my business whenever the meetup is scheduled. It's the same time when I already have a trip going. So yeah, you can check that out. Leonard says we have video but no audio. I hope you have audio at this point, because I've been talking away. Thank you, Dulce. Appreciate meeting you in Vegas. Okay, last question. Yep, you're back. So what categories, this is from Wendy, what categories sell the fastest and the best? Is it the main category, or can you go down a few under the main category and still do really well? Yeah, that's a good question, Wendy. And basically, it's each category is different. For example, these numbers aren't correct, but the toy category, for example, may have 5 million listings under toys. So the bestseller ranked number one in toys is going to be a lot more profitable, or a lot more sales than the bestseller rank in, say, lawn and garden, which may only have 250,000 listings. So another way to put it is, you can be ranked 100,000 in toys and sell several dozen pieces a day. But if you're ranked 100,000 in lawn and garden, you may sell one every 6 months, because the category's so big that basically you're only in the top 45% of that category. So it really doesn't matter which category you're in, Wendy. What matters mostly is are there other products selling in that category, and are they selling good? So remember, guys, that your Amazon, sorry, totally messed up my train of thought here when I lost power, but Amazon rewards us. The number one way, or the number one reason Amazon rewards our listing, rather, sorry, trying to get focused again, is for velocity of sales. So the number one thing you can do, besides packaging and having the best ingredients and having the best pictures and all that, the number one thing you can do to get ranked in Amazon, to get on the page, is velocity of sales. And the best way to manipulate that is to do promotions, to give away or deeply discount your products, so that you can create velocity to basically trick the algorithms to think that you're selling a lot of product, until you get ranked naturally, and then the organic sales will take over anyway. The number one thing that sells the product once you're ranked are the pictures, or the title will actually lead people to find your listing. And the number one thing that will cause people to click on your listing is going to be your main photo, not your description or your title. It's going to be the picture of the product. Just think of it from a consumer seat. If you're looking for a silicone spatula, the only thing you have to set apart from anyone else is the main photo that they look at. So it has to be very clean, detailed, compelling, however you want to put it. That's the only thing that you have. And we have a barbecue product. We were competing in this space back around Father's Day. We quickly took over the number one best-selling spot, because everyone else was showing just a picture of the package of the product. And you've heard of sell the sizzle, not the steak. Well, basically that's what we did. Our number one photo on our page, or our listing, when it showed up in search, was this big, fat, juicy, sizzling steak on the barbecue, which really didn't have anything to do with the actual underlying product, but it was a compelling enough photo that people would click on it, and it increased our click-through and also our conversion. So that's how we dominated there. And you're right, Malcolm, I have you booked for a call tomorrow as well. I'm not going to take any more questions right now. I want to finish up here. In my opinion, guys, finding products on Amazon is easy. I do some private coaching calls with some clients who seem to have a hard time with this, but it's not like you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find that prince. You only, for Seth and I, it seems that we only pick winners. And honestly, since we started using the ASM system, which was a couple of months after we started our Amazon business, when we started using the ASM system, we only picked one dog, and it really wasn't a dog. We started selling it very well, and after a couple of weeks, we got on page 2. It was a real big category, real good seller for us. And then the only reason I say it was a dog is because we had to kick it to the curb when we had a cease and desist letter come in from a person who owned a patent on that particular device. But since we had a handful of other products that were selling well, we just threw it out and moved forward with other items. So using the system, if you do what I told you, you do what you've already learned, you're not going to find a dog. You're going to find winners all the time. And it's really amazing to me that people like Wendy, who just asked the question about the categories, she finds products. She shared with me 2 or 3 ideas that she had the other night that I thought were amazing. Great opportunities fit the model that we teach, and something that I had never even thought of before. So there's a reason why Amazon has 260 million unique listings, or not unique, but 260 million listings. So there's a huge ocean of opportunity out there. All you got to do is find one little item and run with it. Okay, to me, I'm a firm believer, guys, of having a partner. For those of you that know me, I'm always trying to put together joint ventures and partnerships. It's really nice to have someone that you can depend on, and I kind of look at it as like, well, you guys know I have kids. That's my youngest son right there, Mr. Moses, and my little girl was in earlier, my older son, but I have 4. And if you look at it, your business without a partner, to me, is like trying to raise kids without being married. I mean, if you don't have a partner to raise kids, it makes the job 10 times harder. So for me, it's better to have a partner in business, and it allows you to play in several different categories and different businesses without being totally vested in one. And to have somebody you can depend on is, it's almost invaluable. And plus, it's nice to have someone to do the high five, when things are going well, or to go have a beer with you when things aren't going so well. So highly recommend Partner Up. That's one of the main reasons why we do our meetup group in Indianapolis. I'm trying to get these people to get together, form partnerships and joint ventures, and give them all I can, within reason, to help them get that stuff up and running. If you're on the fence or about starting your Amazon business or any aspect of the business, for me, I always follow the whole philosophy of fail fast. Just get up and running. Whatever it takes, just take a step, start moving forward, and get it over with, because we all make mistakes, we all fail. And for me, it's, I actually finally have my wife trained to say, when I say, well, honey, this opportunity just didn't work out, she says, great, go get them next time, killer, I believe in you. So I really have her trained to believe that every time I screw up, it gets me closer to that opportunity that's really going to work out and be a home run for us. So if you're on the fence about anything, guys, just go out there and do it. And hopefully Amber's on the call after the little mishap. Looks like we lost a few, but this quote comes from Amber, and I love it. Amber says, she sends it to my phone one day, it's better to cross the line and to suffer the consequences than to just stare at the line for the rest of your life. Hallelujah. It says it all, guys. Just go out there and get it done, because if you don't, you don't want to sit here in a couple of weeks and wish you would have. Like this gentleman in Vegas I sat next to from New Zealand, he traveled 26 hours, had been to 2 live events, he spent thousands of dollars on the system, and he was still at square one. He's not even playing the game. This guy barely even knows the rules to the game. Like, he's not even on the bench, but he takes meticulous notes, and we call that paralysis by analysis. If you just analyze and mine for data and keep digging and not make a jump, you're never going to do it. So my theory is, go out there, get your face kicked in, and do it quick, because if it don't work, you can get it over with. And lastly, I just want to remind you to be flexible with your plans. Don't just carve it in stone and stick with it, while things around you are changing and new opportunities are popping up, because Seth and I have literally changed our entire business model, probably overhauled it more than half a dozen times. And every day we just try to stay flexible, bend but don't break type theory. Just keep trying new things and keep throwing mud on the wall, and hopefully some of it will stick. So if anybody wants help promoting their products, send me an email and I'll get you over to that department, and the Beast will be happy to help you there. SeanHart317@gmail.com. Thanks, guys, for all the kind words. Malcolm, Landon, Dulce, everyone else, I appreciate your time, and always looking forward, guys. I think the first broadcast went great. Looking forward to many more. So have a good night, and go out there and conquer your day and your world. I appreciate it. Take care.